Step into my worlds with me, and I will show you what I see. This is Anna Imagination with a Healing Garden. Welcome to Shifting Perspectives. I'm going to take a moment over the next few weeks, every video, where I'm going to break down my learning education model that comes out of philosophy so that you understand how it is that I teach, because it's really abstract. It's very different than what we're used to. When we want to learn, educate, anything like that, anytime we want to expand our knowledge, there are three stages, and those stages are mimicking behavior, parroting behavior, repeating it, and authoring it. It's basically when you get to that last stage, it's when you stop repeating and you start expanding and making it your own. And that's the goal. That's when learning actually happens, is when you become an author. If you are just repeating it, you're not learning. You've just memorized. You're no different than a player on a stage being puppeted by the strings of the playwright. Now, in order to pull this off, you need to understand the theory, you need to understand how it applies to you, and then you need an example. So I have a three-part teaching system that I use, where it's theoretical based, where I teach you the theory, and then this is how you can apply it for your life. And then I use myself as an example to show you how I've applied it for my life so you can internalize it and make it your own. So I'm going to talk about emotions. And I'm going to remind you, I'm a philosopher. This is not anything I pull from traditional psychology for many reasons. Watch my podcasts. I explain why. So this is philosophy. I'm going to show you how emotions work on this aspect of it. There are foundational emotions and there are consequential emotions. This is a concept that people just don't get because we're not taught it. So I'm going to break it down for you right now. Feelings and emotions are not specified. They're interchangeable, which I think is part of the problem, is because there are two different kinds of an emotion. There is a foundational emotion, which I call feelings, and then there are consequential emotions, which I call emotions. So for this example, for this exercise, in fact, for everything I do when I refer to emotions, feelings, in my opinion, are defined. Let me rephrase that. Feelings, for the purpose of this exercise, are defined as foundational emotions. Feelings, foundation. Emotions are the consequential temporary emotions. Okay? There are four sources to all of our emotions, but I'm not going to go into the four sources at this time. Right now, I want to talk about the foundational emotions, the feelings, and I want to talk about consequential emotions. There are only three foundational feelings: fear and love. And that's it. The third emotion that's foundational is a branch or a sublet of love called defense. Now, from defense, that's your boundary usage, you get authority, which is the third emotion. So you have fear, and then you have love and authority. Love and authority are kind of partners. When you have love, self-love, then you implement authority through boundary setting, and you get this whole nother branched tree out of emotional consequences. So all emotional consequences, all emotions that are temporary, branch off of one of these three basic emotions. And these three basic emotions do not change. They're permanent. They can be chosen. Once they're consciously chosen, you condition yourself to shift into one of these three or two of these three permanent statuses. For ease of the tree, and I am a firm believer that authority is actually a sublet of love, there's actually two foundational emotions, fear and love. So we're all familiar with fear. And of course, there is love, which, believe it or not, a lot of us are not familiar with. Now, from fear, you would feel a consequence emotion of insecurity. And from fear, you would feel panic. You would feel anxiety. You would feel doubt. You would feel uncertainty or confusion. All of those come from fear bases. Now, flip side of that. From love, you get fun, happiness. You get confidence from authority. Anger comes from authority. Confidence comes from authority. Gratitude comes from love. Actually, I'm trying to figure out gratitude because I feel like gratitude is more of a foundational emotion. It feels like a foundational emotion. So I'm going to have to do more research with gratitude. But appreciation, gratitude, same thing. Now, money and sex are a phenomenal example of a consequential emotion. Those aren't actually emotions, but bear with me for just a moment. Those are energies. So, sex and money are consequential. Basically, it's human connection. But you don't get human connection unless you have the gift exchange occurring. There's a whole transaction of how gifting occurs. And there are three consequences that come from that: control, sex, and money. Control is what a lot of people think power is. That's not true. But so control, sex, and money. Those three things are consequential to gifting, the gift exchange. And the gift exchange is a branch off of the love emotion. Now, like consequences of control, sex, and money, love has its own consequences to it. So as you do what you love, and it's in the action of doing what you love or feeling gratitude, there's going to be certain emotions that result from that, like fun, happiness, joy. Those are literally consequences of love. So, a lot of the emotions that we desire to feel, security, safety, those are consequences of the defense system. Confidence, pride, those are emotional consequences of authority of the defense system. Self assertion, security. I know I said it, and it's like for love, it would be joy, peace, happiness, calm. Calm goes hand in hand with authority. It can be interchangeable. All of those things are emotional consequences that result from love, solidly defined love, and authority. So when you live in a balance of love and authority, those are the emotional consequences. Now, if you just have love, you're not going to get confidence with love. You're going to still have fear and love. You're going to have that insecurity, that lack of authority and love. It's the authority itself that gives you that solidity in love. And then you get the emotional consequence. Now, in order to pull this off, basically you have to reverse the polarity of your emotional mental environment. The emotional mental environment is basically your mindset. It is the catch 22 cycle that you have happening in your brain. Negative emotion goes in, negative reaction goes out. Negative thought goes in, negative behavior goes out. Negative thought goes in, negative, and you've got this catch 22 that just cycles. And the problem is breaking that cycle. To break the cycle, you need to consciously and logically and deliberately embed positivity into that cycle. Now, it's going to take time. So once you embed positivity into the cycle, you start positive thought, and then the subconscious mind gives you positive behavior, more positive thought, positive behavior, and it begins a cycle so that you change your emotional mental mindset from a negative one to a positive one. Now, when you do that, fear diminishes. The best thing while you're fueling this catch 22 cycle that you have going on, you also want to be soothing, empathizing, and reassuring and validating your fear to turn it down. So it's a lot of, by the way, that is self care. That is self management. This is self management. It is when you provide empathy for the self. I'm going to really emphasize that self empathy, self validation, self soothing, kindness, compassion for the self. When you do all of this, you stop self hating and it turns the fear down. I want to show you something. When you have a child, a 5-year-old child, and that child is sitting there in life, and you yell at the child, you abuse the child shrinks, the child becomes more afraid. It reminds me of the producers when Zero Mostel walks over to Gene Wilder. And he says, "I'm hysterical," says Gene Wilder. "I'm hysterical." And so Zero dumps water on him. And he goes, "I'm wet and I'm hysterical. I'm hysterical." So Zero slaps his face. And Gene Wilder goes, "I'm wet and I'm in pain and I'm still hysterical." And Zero Mostel says, "Tell me what to do." And he goes, "Just stand over there and just smile or something. Look nice." So Zero Mostel steps back and he goes, "How's this?" And he goes, "Better." "Okay, better, better." And he comes down. As hilarious as the whole sequence is, it is spot on. Now, I want you to imagine that you have a 5-year-old inside of your brain, and the 5-year-old is going, "I'm hysterical." And you, the bigger, older, scarier version of yourself, walks up to the little 5-year-old going, "I'm hysterical." And so you dump water on it. "Knock it off. I expect more from you. You're an idiot." And the hysteria increases. So you slap the child in your brain, and the child becomes more hysterical. You see what we're doing here, people? You are literally self-triggering. That's right. You are self-triggering because you are attacking the 5-year-old inside of your brain. This is what happens when you don't self-soothe. So it is really important that you stop beating up the 5-year-old in your brain because your fear system is only 5. So this is what we're going to do. You are going to be nice to yourself because you're scaring yourself. You are going to use self-compassion, self-kindness, self-empathy, self-validation, self-soothing, self-fear. You're going to use all of those things. And that is going to calm the 5-year-old in your brain. Now, this poor 5-year-old child has been abused by you and everybody else all of its life. So it's going to take some time for the 5-year-old you to trust you and the 5-year-old you to warm up to you and to calm down. And that's okay. Okay? Patience is what this 5-year-old needs. So we're going to add patience, self-patience to this little cocktail of ours. Now, while you are doing that, we are also going to be focusing on love, which is really hard for a lot of us because we don't know what it looks like. When you meet somebody and you are infatuated within less than 3 months, that is not love. Sorry. That is an emotional prosthetic. An emotional prosthetic is when you are so euphoric and elated that somebody wants you, that somebody sees you, that you immediately attach like a parasite to that person because you want to be accepted. It is not love. And in most cases, you are attaching yourself to a narcissist in disguise. Emotional prosthetics. It's when you project your emotional wishes and desires of the self onto other people in the guise of an expectation. So, once you understand what an emotional prosthetic looks like, that in love is not this at all. As you heal, your need for the emotional prosthetic will literally fall off because you'll be growing your new leg. And suddenly the prosthetic isn't needed. And that's okay. If you truly do love them, they won't go anywhere. It's just going to change the relationship. And if they truly do love you, they won't go anywhere. In fact, this is how you find out if it's true love. This is true love. True love is when you do what you love to do. What? Not who, what. True love is when you do what you want to do. It's what makes you happy. For instance, with me, teaching, talking, doing philosophy, thinking makes me happy. Oh my God, does it make me happy? Writing scripts and playwright, performing, theater, this makes me happy. Singing and entertaining makes me happy. This is me. This is me. Through and through. Now, it's just me in my own little world. Just like whatever it is you do is you in your own little world. Because you're not alone. You have a lot of things happening on inside of you, but you're not aware of them. Imagine you've got 6 people, and you do, inside of you, 6 parts, but you are all completely oblivious of the existence of the other 5. And you are. So as a result, because no one knows about anybody else, you do feel alone and you do feel isolated because the unit itself is divided. And that is what you are feeling. The divided unit, the division of one. That is where loneliness comes from. That is where abandonment comes from. That is where rejection comes from. You have rejected the other parts of you. You have isolated yourself from the other parts of you. And because the 6 of you don't realize that you're all there, you are feeling the hole inside of you because you are not working together as a unit, but there are 6 of you. So, with the Philosopher's Compass, which I'm going to be providing to you and breaking down for you over the next few weeks, well, it's in one of my videos. It's all over the place. I'm just trying to reorganize it again. With the Philosopher's Compass and with this self-management, you basically start to put yourself back together again, and you become familiar with the 6 parts. Now, in addition to doing this, I also throw in there my 90-minute opera and play because, oh my God, why wouldn't I? So I have a 90-minute play in addition to the Philosopher's Compass. And as far as and then you have the self-care walkthrough. So I have a walkthrough, I have the Philosopher's Compass, and then I have the 90-minute play. Now, when these powers combine, truly, when these powers combine, the whole thing clicks into place. It's 3 parts. It is self-care, the Philosopher's Compass, and then my 90-minute theatrical thing that is. The 90-minute theatrical thing that I'm putting together provides you with perspective, understanding, and remembering. The Philosopher's Compass provides you with solid, logical understanding and definition, so you can remember. And the self-care walkthrough that I provide also gives you pretty much all the working machinations of how to manage your emotions so that you know what you're dealing with, you know how to do this going forward. And this is all based off of my 3-step learning education, how to learn, which is understanding the theory of why, understanding how it applies to your life, and then offering you my life as an example so you have something to learn off of. This will take you from mimicking to repeating to authoring. You're not going to learn it until you can author it. That's internalization. When you start up a business, one of the things they tell you is, can you deliver a speech without a script? I cannot deliver a speech with a script. I have internalized my material so strongly that I cannot use a script. I cannot memorize. I can't do it because this is internalized. You can't have both. You cannot have memory and internalization. You can't. This is why Robin Williams was so fucking good, because he internalized humor. There. Look at that. We're going to do that one more time. I love you, NPH, but he'll get the humor of this. NPH is really good at delivering humor from a script. He's really good. But Robin Williams internalized humor. So to give him a script, he's already thinking like, well, no, I see the humor of this. I see the humor of this. I can see the network, and that's not in the script. I can't follow a script. I am the same way. When you internalize something, you can't follow script. So every time someone's on a stage and they're just going off on their own tangent, it's because they've internalized it. They're authors. If they are stuck at the repetition stage of learning, then they're just going to memorize and repeat, memorize and repeat. The better they get at the memorizing and the repeat, the more they internalize the concept. Now they can improv. This is where improvisation comes from. Now I want to show you something. This is really embarrassing and horrible for us all, but we'll get over it. It's okay. We're going to get through this together. Our communication skills are at the mimic stage. That's why we repeat ourselves. We're actually mimicking. You have mimic, you have repeat, and you have internalizing. I have finally learned how to internalize communication. Most of us are at mimicking. Public speakers are at repetition. See the difference? We all have internalized walking. We all have internalized walking. See how easy walking is? Look, most of us can run without thinking, right? We are fluent walkers because we've internalized walking. Imagine being able to communicate as easily and as smoothly as you walk and run and climb. That's internalization. So we are all the Robin Williams of walking. That's right. But our communication has been significantly stunted. Our thinking as a society is at the repetition stage. Many of us are still at the mimic stage. So you have mimics, you have parrots, and you have authors. That's learning. That's learning. There is a difference between author and mimic, a difference between author and parrot. Once you understand the big picture, you can go, oh, holy shit, I stopped growing. We all stopped growing. That's the problem. The more, and you can go backwards. You can be a really good parrot, and then if you don't practice, you will go back to a mimic. That's really important that you understand because we're evolutionary. So we're not ever staying in one place. It's not, I'm going to be a parrot when I'm going to be an author, and then you work and you work and you work and you stop being a mimic and you get yourself over to parrot mode, and then you stop working for a while. You're actually going to decline. Because first, there is the energy and the momentum of putting yourself up here and keeping pace. Growth happens when you surpass the energy required for maintenance. Take those words, rewind the video, listen to them again. Growth happens when you surpass the energy required and the momentum required for maintenance. So there's energy required for maintaining and then additional energy required for growth. By the way, this is when promotions happen in life. This is learning. Mimic, parrot, author. Internalization. This is where learning actually happens. Practice, practice, learning. You don't learn. Actually, the whole thing is learning, but you don't get it until you've internalized. So when we put our kids through school, they're just mimicking and parroting, because we don't understand how to internalize. Philosophers do. In order to internalize, you need to know the theory, why we do it. You must have understanding. Then you need relatability, which is how you can apply the understanding to your life. And then you need an example. That's where I come in, where I live whatever it is I'm telling you and I'm showing you, so you can go, oh, there's the example. Now you have understanding. Now you can internalize it. In our society, okay, this is going to be really embarrassing. Again, we're going to get through it. Our society has removed the theory, all of it. There's no theory. In fact, this entire model is pretty much dead. It doesn't exist. It exists in philosophy, which is why philosophers know how to think. But it does not exist in our schools. You might get some examples, but it's here, repeat this, and you don't know how it's relatable to you, and you don't understand the theory. You're just mimicking and repeating, and then you get an example, because people today don't know how to educate and learn. That's something you learn in philosophy. No, that's not something you learn in philosophy. That is the only thing you learn, one of the only things you learn at Alexandria. That is that is the primary lesson taught at the Library of Alexandria. When you attend the ancient university, that is what they teach you, is how to learn, educate, and teach. It's extraordinary. It is one of the lost subjects in Alexandria. So when they burnt down the city, all of this information was lost. So every one of my videos is going to be following this model from now on. And for a while, I'm going to be starting every video explaining this model so you understand. We're going to go over theory, we're going to go over relatability, and then we're going to give you a lead by example, which is where I come in. And the purpose of this is to get you from mimic to parrot to author, so you can internalize it. You will become the Robin Williams of your own life. Yeah, and I have my self-care walkthrough, my Philosopher's Compass, and my 90-minute operatic play. I got to figure out something with that thing, because that's something else. That's awesome. I love it. All right. If you love shit like this, like, subscribe, follow, comment below. If you want access to the 90-minute play, reach out to me. Grab the link tree below and contact me. Let me know, I want this 90-minute play, and I'll get it to you. I will work with you. I am taking case studies right now, only 3. It's $500 a week. If you are interested in becoming a case study where you literally get access to my 90-minute theatrical performance, plus the Philosopher's Compass and the self-care walkthrough, it is now available through my case studies only. And again, $500 a week. And it is available. Just click on the link below and then contact me. Let me know you are interested in becoming a case study. Thank you so much. And may the kindest of words always find you.